Let us start a new chapter, which is binomial theorem. Now, I will say that this chapter, you already know everything about this chapter, except the formulae, right? So what I'm going to do is, I will remind you that you know about this chapter, and then we'll give you the formulae. In fact, formulae will be derived by you only. So let us check what I'm trying to say here. See, in our previous classes, 6th, 7th and 8th, we have already learned that what is a plus b into a plus b. How do we do that? What we do is we take a from this bracket, multiply it with this. Then we say this is equal to a squared. Then we take this a and multiply it with this b and then add it, ab. Then we take b from this and multiply it with this a. Then we say this is ab, and then we take this b and multiply it with this. So we say it is b squared. So what we have done here is we have taken every term of this bracket and multiplied it with every term of this bracket and then put a plus sign here because of this plus sign, right? This is what we have been doing. Now when I ask you about three brackets, a plus b, a plus b, a plus b, then you will say that I will take a from this, a from this, a from this, so I'll get a term a cubed, right? Then if I this is how you multiply, or what you can do is you can think about this like this: you multiply this with a plus b, right, to obtain this. So what you will be doing is, now see, you multiplied this a with this a, now this a will come, so this will get multiplied with this one to give you a cube. So this is what we are thinking in these three brackets. So now you focus here, okay? See, when I take a from all of these three brackets, I get a cubed here. When I take a from only two brackets, now out of these three, I can choose two brackets in three ways. Either I will take these two brackets and select a from these and multiply a into b from this. So I'll get a squared b. You understand where I'm going? Or you can select these two brackets and take a from them, then you will say a squared and then b from this b, because you cannot multiply these two a's and leave it, right? You have to take something from this bracket also. This is how multiplication works. If you do not believe me, you can multiply it yourself and see that you cannot leave that, right? And then the third way will be that I take a from this, a from this and b from this bracket, so it will give me another a square b. So I have taken a from all three brackets and got a cubed. A from two brackets, I've got a square b, a square b, a square b. Now let us take a from any one of these brackets. So I can take a from this bracket, then I'll have to take b from this and b from this to be able to multiply it. So ab squared. If I take a from this and b from rest of the two brackets, then I'll get another ab squared. And what about this? If I take a from this, b from these two, then I'll get another ab squared. Now I have taken a from all three, a from two of these, a from one of these. Now I'll take a from none of these. So how can I do that? I can do that in only one way, that I'd select b from all of these three brackets. So I'll have b cubed here. So what is this formula? This you have been studying, that it is equal to a cubed plus 3a squared b plus 3ab squared plus b cubed, right? This is you have been doing that. Now you can talk about it in terms of b also. When I say I select a from all of these three, I could have said this statement in other way around, that I select b from none of these, then I select b from one of these, right? Rather than saying a from two of these, I could have said b from one of these, a from one of these or b from two of these. Both statements are equivalent, right? A from none of the three brackets means b from all the three brackets. Okay, I hope you have got the idea, but let me expand it to 5 brackets, then we will do it for n brackets. You will enjoy this because I have said nothing that you don't know already, right? So how do we multiply these? If I select a from all of these 5 brackets, I'll get a raised to power 5. If I select any 4 brackets and take a from them, then I'll have to take b from the 5th one to get a raised to power 4b. Now I could have selected these 4 and got a from all of these to multiply, or I could have selected these 4, right? I could have selected this, and this one, right? So in how many ways can you select 4 brackets out of 5? This is the question. In how many ways can you select 4 brackets out of which we will take a, right? And the 5th, then you don't have to worry about b, because from the 5th bracket you automatically have to take b. So you have to select 4 brackets out of these 5. In how many ways can you do that? You can select these 4, you can select these 4, you can select this and this one, you can select this and these 2. In how many ways can you do that? I can select these 4 brackets out of these 5 in 5c4 ways, right? And then I'll have a raised to power 4 into b. Corresponding to each selection, I'll get 1 a raised to power 4b. What I mean is, you can select 4 brackets out of these 5 in 5 ways, right? I can get you count these ways. I hope you already understand what I'm saying, right? One of the ways would be when you select first 4, 1 2 3 4, right? This is one way. Then this is another way. Then this is another way. Then this is another way. And then this is another way. So 5 ways you can select 4 brackets. So you will get a raised to power 4, and then from the 5th you will get b. So 5 a raised to power 4b. So it is 5 a raised to power 4b. Or in terms of this coefficient or this combination symbol 5c4, you can say it like that. Okay, we will also look it from b's perspective, that you have to select b from only one bracket. If you say you select a from 4 or you select b from 1, both of these things have to be same, right? Because 5c4 and 5c1 are anyway same. So you can say that you select a from 4, or you select 4 brackets and take a from them. You could have said it in other way around, that you can select one bracket and take b from it, so both are same. Anyways, you will get 5. Then you have to select 3 brackets and take a from these, then obviously b will come out from rest of the 2. So if you say 5c3, you mean I am taking a from 3 brackets, okay? Or you could have said it 5c2, that is I am taking b from 2 brackets. So anyways, 5c3 and 5c2 are equal. We have studied it in combinations, right? Permutations and combinations, that 5c3 equals 5c2. And it has to be equal, because we can, number of ways of selecting 3 things out of 5 has to be equal to number of ways of rejecting 2 things out of 5, right? So when we are selecting a, we are rejecting b. When we are selecting b, we are rejecting a from that. So obviously next term will come when I take 5c2 a squared b cubed, 5c3 a what was this? This was 5c1, this was 5c3. Okay, I've written it in from a's perspective, right? 5c4, 5c3, 5c2, and then I'll write 5c1. So I'm selecting, in how many ways can I select one bracket out of these 5, and then I'll take a from it, right? Then obviously b will come out from the rest of 4 brackets. So 5c1 a b raised to power 4. Then I'll select a from 0 brackets and b from all of the 5. And you could have written these coefficients from the other perspective. This is something that I've already discussed, that I have selected 5c4, that a is selected from 4 brackets. or I can say I select b from one bracket. These two are equivalent. 5c3 or I say 5c2, these two are same. 5c2 or I say 5c3, these are equal, right? 5c1 or you could have said 5c4, these are same. 5c0 or 5c5, both mean the same value, both will give you same value. So what are the values that you have got? So you finally got a formula for a plus b raised to power 5, which is a raised to power 5 plus 5a raised to power 4b, because this is 5. And then 5c3 is 10, right? 10 a cubed b, and a cubed b squared, because when a comes from 3 brackets, I am left with 2 brackets, so out of those b has to come. So if you see, these sum of these exponents will always be equal to 5, because there are 5 brackets to be multiplied. If I select a from 3, rest 2 will give b. So this is 10, and 5c2 is also 10, so 10 a squared b cubed, and then 5c4 is 5, and a b raised to power 4. 5c5 or 5c0 is 1, so 1 into b raised to power 5. So this is the formula that you've got, and these coefficients 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. There is a way to memorize these coefficients also, but first of all let us write the binomial theorem or this formula for nth power. So what I'm saying is a plus b raised to power n, where n is a natural number or positive integer. So how can I do that? How can I open this bracket? So you think in your mind, you imagine there are n brackets, right? So when you select a from all of these, you will get a raised to power n. And in how many ways you can do that? Only in one way, that you select b from 0 brackets. So nc0 you can write. Now the coefficients, these coefficients I am writing from b's perspective. You should be able to do it in both ways. So either you can write ncn or nc0, both are same. So I am selecting b from 0 brackets, so I am selecting a from all the n brackets to get a raised to power n. And when I take a from n minus 1 brackets, right, a from n minus 1 bracket, then this will be the power of a, and then b will have to be taken from 1 bracket. So out of these n brackets, I am taking a from n minus 1, any n minus 1, all combinations. In how many ways can I do that? Let me see. We will just check. So you select n minus 1 brackets out of the n and take a from it, and the remaining bracket, that is 1 bracket that will remain, will give you b. So this will be the term that you will get. Now, so you are taking b from only 1 bracket out of n. So I am writing these coefficients from b's perspective. So nc1, a raised to power n minus 1 b. Why I am writing from b's perspective? Because this will be easier to memorize, right? This is how you need to memorize. Otherwise nc1 or ncn minus 1, both are same. So the next term, you take a from n minus 2 brackets, so b will come out of 2 brackets, and nc2 or ncn minus 2, these two are same. So I am writing nc2, because what I want to create a symmetry so that you can memorize this formula. What is the use of formula if you have to derive it every time? You have to memorize it, right? So what I am doing is I am writing this here, and same is going to this power of b. So what I am doing is, if I write nc3, I'll write b raised to power 3, and then remaining, see, n, this power n is being distributed over a and b. So b has got 3, so a will get n minus 3. This is what I am doing. So let me write another, you write it yourself. B raised to power 4, and then a raised to power n minus 4. Okay, and what about the last term? When I do not take a from any of these, so I am taking b from all of these, so b raised to power n will come, and the coefficient you will write ncn, right? And when you are taking a from n minus 1 brackets, we have already done that case. When you are taking a from only 1 bracket, then what will happen is you will be taking b from n minus 1. So a from only 1, the coefficient will be ncn minus 1. This is the formula for a plus b raised to power n, and this is the formula for binomial theorem. This is how this is the binomial theorem that we want to learn in this chapter, right? This is a formula that we discussed it, right? We have been doing this since class 7th or 8th. It is just that we formulated it in this way. Okay, so if you see, powers of A are decreasing by 1 at each step, and powers of B are increasing by 1 at each step, and keeping the sum of these exponents equal to this power n, right? And if you notice, in the second term, this was first term, B has got 0 power. In first term, B has got first 1 power. Second term, B is raised to 2. Third, this is third term, right? This is third term, B is raised to 2. Fourth term, B is raised to 3. So this is what is happening is, if I consider this to be R, let us say, right? This coefficient, if I consider it NCR, okay, then this term is R plus 1th term. R plus 1th term will have coefficient NCR. This is what I'm trying to say. Fourth term has got NC3. Fifth term has got NC4. Second term has got NC1. Right? So what will R plus 1th term have? NCR. Right? What will Rth term have? NCR minus 1. This is something that I want you to notice. And what about number of terms? You are starting B's power from 0, then 1, 2, and you are going up to n. So if you are going from 1 to n, there would have been n terms, but this is another term here, right? B with 0 power. So you are getting total n plus 1 terms. When you are raising this binomial to nth power, you will get total n plus 1 terms on the right hand side, right? So these are n plus 1 terms. Now what else can you do? Let me write this cleanly on the next page, then we will discuss some more things. So if you write a formula for A plus B raised to power n, then what you'll do is you start with NC0, right, and raise B to this power and raise A to rest of the powers that are remaining from n. What I mean to say is, you subtract this from n and write it here. Let me write the next term, then you will understand. NC1, B raised to power 1, and then you write A raised to power n minus 1. NC2, B raised to power 2, A raised to power n minus 2. This is how we worked out this formula. NC3, B raised to power 3, A raised to power n minus 3, plus and so on. When I've got NC n minus 1, then I'll have B raised to power n minus 1 and only A here. And the next term, when I've got NCn, because beyond this I cannot go, B raised to power n, A will have 0th power. So this is the formula that I have written. Now we will do some things with this formula. One of the things that we will do is we will replace this B with minus B. So A minus B raised to power n, we will write a formula for this. I will not write a separate formula. Let me show it to you here itself. When I replace this B with minus B, so I'll have to replace it everywhere on the right hand side. It doesn't make a difference here, because even if I write minus B here, B raised to 0th power will still be 1. But here, if you see if I replace B with minus B, this will make this entire term negative. And here it won't make a difference to this sign. For this, B raised to 3rd power, so it will be minus B raised to power 3 or minus of B cubed. So this minus will come here. Now what is happening is, when I have got NC3, NC1, when this is odd, when R is odd, right? This term is a second term, but R is 1, R is 3. When I say R, I am referring to this expression, NCR. This is R, right? So these terms will become odd and rest of the terms will remain as it is. This minus sign, the only difference will be to the terms where B had got odd power. When did B have odd power? When R is odd. R is odd. Those terms will get negative signs, or you can say that alternate terms will have negative signs, right? You need to understand this yourself. I think I have explained it enough for you to understand what I'm trying to say. So this was a minus b raised to power n, and we also need to understand one thing. First of all, let us write a formula for this. A plus b raised to power n can be written as sigma r goes from 0 to n, right? And then we have ncr, right? We go from nc0, nc1, nc2 up till ncn. So we start from r equal to 0 and go up to n. This is ncn. We started from nc0. So ncr, then I give all the powers to, or what I give this power to b. So I'll write b raised to power r. And then what I give to a raised to power n minus r. This is how we derived or how we understood this formula. Okay, let me write it once again. Let me write x plus y raised to power n sigma r raised to r goes from 0 to n ncr. Okay, this is what I will write first of all. Then this r I'll write what is the use of taking x plus y if I have to continue with this b? Y raised to power r. So this term I am raising it with this power, and remaining n minus r I'll give to x. So x raised to power n minus r. So this is the formula that you have to memorize, or this one. In any form you can memorize it. Sigma r goes from 0 to n, x raised to power n minus r, y raised to power r. Or you can start with y raised to power r, so x raised to power n minus r. Okay, and if you appreciate it, we already discussed that the coefficients that are equidistant from beginning and end are equal to each other. nc1 is equal to ncn minus 1, nc0 is equal to ncn, nc2 is equal to ncn minus 2. This is what we have already seen. So what you can say is that this formula and this formula, y plus x raised to power n, these are going to be the same things, right? This expression and this expression will be same. These are same, right? Only difference is that when we talk about binomial theorem, when I write like this, I start expanding from x perspective, and if I write it like this, I start from y, right? By giving all the powers to y first, then taking 1 from y and giving it to x, taking 2 from y, giving it to x. Okay, what I'm saying is, when I write x plus y raised to power n, I start with this term having x raised to power n and y 0. Then next term, I'm not talking about coefficient for a moment, then I take 1 from x and give it to y. The next term, x raised to power n minus 2 y squared, and like this. This is the expansion that we write when I've got this, and when I write it like this, I'll expand from the end, or I'll start with giving all the powers to y. Then I'll write y raised to power n minus 1 into x with the relevant coefficient. We know what the coefficient is, but okay, let me write it, nc0, nc1. Okay. And then in the next term, I'll have y raised to power n minus 2 and x squared, and so on. This is the only difference. Otherwise, this expression and this expansion, these two are also same. It is just that in binomial, some questions are asked like this: fourth term from the beginning. Then if I say x plus y and y plus x both are same, then which fourth term from the beginning I am asking? So when the expression is given like this, I consider that I have to start with giving all the powers to x. That is, I have to start with x raised to power n, and then keep decreasing x power by 1 and keep raising y's power by 1. Okay, this is the convention, you can say, at least for your chapter, to solve your chapter. So you got a formula. Now if I write x minus y raised to power n, what will happen to this formula is sigma r equal to 0 to n ncr, these things will remain the same, x raised to power n minus r. Then in place of y I have written minus y, so let me write minus y here. Minus y will be raised to power r. Now whenever r is odd, this term will become minus y. When r is even, this term will become y. So rather than writing it minus y raised to power r, what I can do is I can write this minus 1 raised to power r and then write the formula as it is. Minus 1 raised to power r, sigma r equal to 0 to n ncr x raised to power n minus r y raised to power r. Okay, so I've not learned any new formula here. I've just multiplied it with minus 1 raised to power r to take care of the negative y, right? Because I have replaced y with minus y. So this will be the case. And what will happen to the odd powers of y? Those terms will become negative. The terms with odd powers of y will become negative. Okay. Similarly, you can keep in mind another simple thing, that if I replace this, when I wrote x plus y raised to power n, if I replace this x with 1, so I can write the formula. For example, I am writing a formula for 1 plus x raised to power n. So what I have done is I have replaced this x with 1 and y with x, let us say. Or see, I want to write a formula for 1 plus x raised to power n. Otherwise, there is no difference even if I write a formula for 1 plus y raised to power n. Okay, so let me write it for 1 plus y raised to power n. Okay, let us see. So I'll start with NC0, right? And give everything to y, that is this, and 0th power to 1. So 1 raised to 0th power is still 1. Let me write it for a moment. Then NC1, okay. See, I had to give 0th power to this. Let me write it once again. See, so I start with NC0, give y 0 and x remaining n power. So what is x? X is 1 in this case. So what I am essentially writing here is 1 raised to power n. And then in the next term nc1, I am giving y at 1 power, this power, and x raised to power n minus 1. So 1 raised to power n minus 1. So if you see, 1 raised to these powers will give me 1 anyway. And even in the last term where n minus n will be, let me write the last term, ncn y raised to power n, 1 will be raised to n minus n, which is 0, right? So in any case, every term will have 1 here. So the formula that I have got is nc0 y raised to power 0. This term is 1 because y raised to power 0 is 1, this is 1, this is 1. So let me write it directly as 1. Okay, so let us start. 1 plus, this is n and this is y. Or let it be like this, nc1y, nc2y squared plus nc3y cubed plus up to ncn y raised to power n. And now let me do what I was trying to do. That's why there was a little bit confusion. 1 plus x raised to power n, because this is how most of the students memorize this formula, 1 plus x raised to power n. So what do? We start with nc0, then write nc1 x, nc2 x squared, nc3 x cubed plus and so on, nc n minus 1 x raised to power n minus 1 plus ncn x raised to power n. This is how we memorize this formula. And if I replace x with minus x, what will be the formula? 1 minus x raised to power n. It will become nc0. It won't make a difference because this is a constant term, right? Now this term has got x, so if I replace it with minus x, minus will come here, nc1 x plus nc2 x squared, because it won't, minus sign won't make a difference when it is squared. When it is raised to even power, minus x raised to even power will still be the same. So it will make difference with odd powers of x only. So this is how we will write this formula, plus nc4 x raised to power, this was NC3 x raised to power 3, NC4 x raised to power 4 with a plus sign, then minus NC5 x raised to power 5, and then plus, and so on. This will be how the formula will be written. And when I will write nth term, what will happen is I can write NCn x raised to power n. Now I don't know about whether n is odd or even, so what I'll do is, to take care of that, I'll write minus 1 raised to power n here. So that will take care of whether n is odd or even. If n is odd, it will become minus. If n is even, it will become plus. Okay. So let me recap some of the things. When I've got an expression like this, right? On the right hand side, number of terms will be 1 more than this power, that is n plus 1. Okay, and r plus 1th term will be NCR x raised to power n minus r y raised to power r. Or in terms of a and b, I could have written it. Oh, this is I have written for x plus y raised to power n. Okay, this is the r plus 1th term. We noticed in every term, right? In second term we had got NC1, in third term NC2, r plus 1th term NCR, right? And whatever we have got here, we raise this to that same power, and x will have n minus this power. Why? Because the sum of these exponents, sum of exponents of x and y will be equal to the power here. The power, it is the binomial is raised to. So this is equal, sum of exponents is equal to power that the binomial is raised to. This is one thing that we have learned. This is another thing. This is third thing, right? 1, 2, 3. So if sum of exponents has to be same, then if one of the exponents is increasing, the other will keep decreasing. So if we start with a plus b raised to power n, let us say, first we give all of the powers to a. So a raised to power n in first term. In second term, we'll have a raised to power n minus 1. So b raised to power 1. Third term, a raised to power n minus 2, b raised to power 2. I'm not talking about coefficients here. And what about coefficients? One thing that we noticed about coefficients was that even if we write NC0 or NCn, right, we can interchange them because these are equal. So coefficients equidistant from beginning and end are equal, and this symmetry has to be there because a plus b raised to power n is equal to b plus a raised to power n. So either we start with here b or a, it has to be same, right? So the coefficients have to be placed symmetrically. These are the some of the things that we have learned. So if you say that fourth term, let us say, some of the times this is a question that is asked. If I say fourth term of this, let us say this binomial expansion from the end, fourth term from the end, I want to find, then what does it mean is that I am opening this expression starting with a raised to power n and then going like this. So when I am supposed to find fourth term from the end of a plus b raised to power n, will it not be equal to fourth term from the beginning of b plus a raised to power n? Yes, it will be equal to. So fourth term from the end of a plus b raised to power n will be equal to fourth term from the beginning of b plus a raised to power n. These are the things that we noticed. Okay, then we will continue in the next lecture. Okay, so we will in the next lecture we will try to solve the first exercise, and we will see some of the methods to memorize these coefficients also. Okay, while doing the permutation combination, I asked you to memorize some of these, that 5c1 is 5, 5c2 is 10, right? 5c0 is 1. So these are the things, these are some of the coefficients that you need to memorize. For example, up to, let us say, 7, 7c2, 6c2. These are the things that should be there on your tips. So let us continue this in next lecture. Thank you.